Okay, welcome back. And our guest is Mr. Iboro Otu. He's the governorship candidate of African Action Congress in Akwa Ibom State. He's explained to us what they mean, what is meant when it is referred to as a left-wing political party, having been created by Mr. Moyele Showore, who was the founder, and I believe presidential candidate as well, of the party. Now, Mr. Iboro would run the affairs of the 6 million citizens of Akwa Ibom State for the better if he gets the chance. And we're looking at what indeed his projections are. He's spoken about some of them, but then I also noticed this one, which is to strengthen the socio-economic base of the state. And I think allied to that is what is referred to here as revitalizing the God-given entrepreneurial zeal in every Akwa Ibom citizen. Could you explain those two? Because they seem to me to be related, but if I'm mistaken, please go ahead and correct me.
Yes, you are very correct. Akwa Ibom people are indeed very entrepreneurial, especially in the agri sector. But we don't have the ecosystem support at the moment to enable our people scale commercially. And what we intend to do is what I understudied in Taiwan, which is the one family, one business approach. Now, I understudied, I went to Taiwan for so many things. One is because Obon Victor, the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, had started a project called the Ibom Science Park, which he borrowed from the Taiwan Science Park. So I went to and studied that, plus other things. And as such, I lived in Taiwan for 3 months. So what we intend to do is do what the Taiwanese do. Every household, every family has a business attached to it. So no matter how small it is, they together come to make a very big whole. And that's why Taiwan is where it is today, why everyone is looking at it as a jewel. Now, when we take advantage of the science park and the very great digital knowledge here in Akwa Ibom State, we would be able to have, presently I'm in discussions with the Taiwanese government, to the embassy here, to the consulate in Lagos, to see how we can create a system where we can help in the tech sector, in making the little productions in headphones, in phone chargers, and all the rest of them, through our science park here in Akwa Ibom State that we are working on. We intend to actualize the vision of Obon Victor from day one. So we have the great 18-story building that has been built that is presently empty. We have the e-library that is presently empty, which we could put to work immediately to make available space for over 200,000 Akwa Ibom young people to come in, develop their requisite skills in the tech sector, and also encourage young people across Africa as a destination of choice in terms of tech. Okay. So these great plans, while also taking advantage of our MSMEs, remember, China is built up of cooperatives. So we will put in place a youth development fund of about 310 billion naira, which is about 10 billion naira per local government. The government, we will seed it with 31 billion from day one, so that partners can come in and help this grow, so that our cooperatives, our women in the markets, our brothers in the agri sector who are struggling hard to have 6 million to buy speedboats, will be able to have access to these funds. Remember, most of the seafood come from here, but because the businesses are owned by foreigners, we end up having seafood more expensive in the market here in Rio than it is in Adamawa, for example. Why? Because when our young people that are experienced go in the seas and bring this seafood, the guys just take it outside to sell. We want to reverse this trend so that we can feed our people properly and also help our people control this great ecosystem that God has given us. So we have these great plans to support our people, localize the economy, broaden the space in terms of funding penetration. So our Akwa Ibom young people can be very energized and can get the resources they need. And remember, when young people have money, they spend it. And when they spend it, the economy becomes robust. And when the economy is robust, we no more enter private jets like the present governor is doing, flying overseas to look for investors who don't come. But the investors will see the activity practically happening in Akwa Ibom State and come in to say, look, what's happening here? How can we plug in? See the resources of the world today as it is. No, knows where things are happening. You don't need to go. America does not come here to sell the American market. We go there to buy. So because we know something is happening in America, we want the world to know that, look, Akwa Ibom State is the next place that you don't want to miss out on. And we are ready to do it from day one, underpinning all these areas through technology to make sure that we can, tokenize our economy, meaning we don't just localize it, the whole world can see what's happening here and can come in and take a bit of a bite, thus empowering this state and country.
Thank you, Mr. Otu. We have our first caller. Mazi Okoroafo has called in from Arochukwu and has an observation, comment, or question. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Sayuri. Good morning, our governorship aspirant, Otu. Arochukwu and Akwa Ibom, the difference is from Ikono local government is Nkana Bridge. And Nkana Bridge, as you rightly said about the seafood, that river, that Nkana Bridge, that river, you know what happened at least. Thank God for the president of they have built that bridge. And a lot of
it fell a long time ago.
Now what I want to find out now, if you go around and see that there are a lot of out of school students and the youths there, they are doing well. But many of them, they don't have the opportunity of going to school. When time for school fees comes, many of them will be sent back. But when school is in the so what are your own plans to make sure that people from primary, nursery, junior, secondary, senior secondary will go to school? At least get their SSC, where possible, write their exam. At least their parents can take care of that one. So how will you solve that problem? And you know very well from Nkana to Arochukwu, you can walk in when you cross that bridge and enter that Arochukwu. It's not far. And you see that many people are always on bike. And the risk involved is too much. You can empower the youth. Thank you very much. Mazi Okoroafo from Arochukwu, your neighbor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mazi, especially for the question, because you took it right out of my mouth. I was going to ask Mr. Otu next what is meant by AAC when they talk about securing the future of youths, under an AAC administration. I think it's related to Mazi Okoroafo's question.
That is very correct. And like I said, education is number one priority for our government. That's why we are allocating 10% of our capital expenditure in that area. Not only allocation of that budgetarily, but release of funds as well. Like I said earlier on, that most of the 80% of our primary and secondary schools have no roofs in them. I mean, infrastructure-wise, no tables, no chairs. And what Mazi is saying is true, even though the government might be saying otherwise. And I can tell you, if you Google Premium Times, for example, or the Mail newspapers, Akwa Ibom State, there's been extensive investigations done in this area. So I have a great team of people who can identify how we plug in these resources. And I can say right now that, like I said, our primary schools will not just have the right infrastructure, but scaling of syllabuses. It's not just about building schools and fences. It's about upgrading the syllabuses, empowering our teachers through the teacher training colleges, incentivizing education so the right intelligent people can actually come in and train our people. And beyond training, like I said, all primary school students from primary 6 as they graduate, even though they're learning, even though they will also be learning coding and getting on the computer all through school, we will be giving them access to free phones that is being paid for by the state, connected to the internet for free, so that they can connect to the world and continue their education. Remember, not everyone, like Mazi said, will be going to school, even though most will go for vocational training. A lot of people will be learning online through YouTube. A lot of education happening today on the internet. So we want to give our people this opportunity to connect to the world from primary 1. And when we do this, like I have said, we would have taken care of millions of young people that will be coming in and help them to easily connect to the world than it is today.
I like what you just said, but I want to try and put it in context. In terms of out-of-school children, you've told us earlier that we're looking at a 6 million population, of which you will know better than me the percentage of school children, and how many of those are out of school, so that I can relate it to what you've just finished saying.
So the numbers are neither here nor there because of the data, but there are thousands of out-of-school children that in percentage is up to 30% of the percentage that is in school right now. And like I said, Ekimini Simon has done extensive work on that. If you Google, you'll get the exact number. And what we intend to do is to get the kids back into school. Of course, right now there is free education for that purpose, but the truth is it is not quality education. So with us coming in with quality free education, we'll be able to arrest this. And even at that, when you go through the report, like I said, you'll see that most of these kids still pay. The government has failed to pay the 100 naira per kid in primary schools every term, which is nothing. Like it's not even up to 100 million across all the 1,250 primary schools, for example. There are some payments that the government is supposed to do to run these schools. And as a result of the failure to do so, the schools still go back to the parents of these kids to make these payments who are unable to afford them. And the kids are again in the street. So we will make sure we tackle this comprehensively and bring these kids back to school, because the problems of tomorrow will be caused by kids that don't have opportunities like every other kid in the world.
Okay.
And we have a very comprehensive package for education
in
the state for the people, and even for other people that are living around Akwa Ibom State to come and take advantage of our educational system at secondary and tertiary level, so that we all can have more resources to plug into our educational system. And with the 10% of capital expenditure allocated to this area, we would have had enough seed funding to start the process.
All right. Let me bring in Mr. Mohammed now, calling in from Offa in Kwara State. Good morning to you, Mr. Mohammed.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Please go ahead. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, my name is Raji Mohammed, calling from Offa, Kwara State.
Okay.
I want to ask the governorship candidate a slight question, because he has been mentioning the health sector, the education sector. What about his plan on internal security, the security of lives and property of Akwa Ibom people? Because he has a very good template in terms of health, education.
Yep.
What about security?
Yep.
Internal security.
All right, then. Thank you very much for that question, because I don't know, viewers are mind readers this morning. I was going to ask Mr. Otu what the security situation is like in Akwa Ibom. Most of Nigeria has a challenge with that. What's the situation like in there, and how did you intend to engage with it?
So we have security challenges here as well, but it's not as bad as it is in the other part of the country, especially in the north. But there's a lot of restiveness, youth restiveness, and it's a direct result of unemployment levels and lack of access to support systems. So when you look at the last page of my manifesto, I have highlighted things we intend to do in the first 100 days, and one of them is the security system, where we would be putting together the community security network, where the local government chairman, which again, when you look at the things we want to do in the first 100 days, local government autonomy is involved, will be empowered to work with the chiefs, the clan heads, to enable young people and vigilantes secure our communities. But again, since young people predominantly operate in this sector, with our Youth Development Fund, where we would be able to create opportunities for young people to plug in and have access to support networks and systems that enable them grow businesses, we would have solved half of the problem. But then the community knows who comes in, which foreigner comes in, where they stay, how they go. Apart from the big terrorist activities, the local thieving and robbery, kidnapping, we'd be able to arrest them through this community security network we intend to put to play as a government. And this is in the first 100 days when we get into office. So we have a solid security plan for our people that will be run by our people, so that businesses can thrive.
Indeed, and because I was just seeing here that you have a vast experience, apart from political activism, vast international and local business experience in the areas of agriculture and agro-allied industries, including media and construction. So quite a varied, past. But I'm assuming that all of that is going to have to, when you become the governor, should the electorate decide so, all of that will have to be to one side. Because to concentrate on governance. But how would you bring this to bear, especially, the agriculture and agro-allied aspects?
So presently, one of the big companies I'm working with, eForce, is doing a great job here in Nigeria, even in Akwa Ibom State, especially with regards to agro machinery importation and sales, and working with governments to develop agro projects across the country. But beyond what I intend to do with people I know is what I intend to do with Akwa Ibom people. So I have a very strong team of experts in different fields. When you look at tech, for example, I'll tell you the vice president of Facebook is from Akwa Ibom State, Ime Achibong.
Okay.
And most of the big corporations in the world, the vice president of the biggest bank in the world, JP Morgan, is from Akwa Ibom State. The vice president of the second biggest security company in the world is from Ikotebeni in Akwa Ibom State, the neighborhood Bintan. The vice president of the biggest bank in Africa, Standard Chartered, is from Akwa Ibom State. I can keep counting to you Akwa Ibom people that are doing well globally in top 10 companies in the world. So what we intend to do is to make this connection, this lasting connection between our people across the world and what's happening here in the center. What normally happens is these people come in, but they can't engage the system because of how the system is being run. The system is not transparent. It's about who know who and the networks that you have. But when we digitize and transparently open up our government to the rest of the world, not just foreign investors will be coming in, but our own investors coming from different parts of the world to take advantage of their God-given land and opportunities. So I know a vast number of people. I can tell you right now, we are running as the shadow government, what you see and hear about in the UK. We want to hit the ground running when we get into office. So we are assuming our position today, building teams today, telling people, look, what will we do in this sector and who can do it? And I can tell you we have identified great people. Just like you said, you asked me how I identified my deputy governor. I can tell you I identified 10 people like her and we had to go through a rigorous process to be able to pick one. Okay. I believe we have great people in this country. It's just that the system of politics that we have, which is underpinned by godfatherism, makes it impossible for leaders to come in and engage because they have to pay back to their godfathers. This is the advantage of working with AAC. Godfather no day. We struggle, and that's why we are calling on Nigerians and Akwa Ibom people to support our campaign. This campaign is people-based. There's nobody anywhere in the country that's supporting us. We are running our thing on our own, creating the networks, making our people believe that things can change and it will change. That, look, as much as we have very bad people and very bad systems in Nigeria, it's not just the Nigerians generally, it's just certain people. We also have very great people and very credible systems that can be brought to bear to make all of us, gain from our commonwealth. I trust in God, I trust in Nigerians, I trust in Akwa Ibomites. I know that we will have the opportunity, and when we do, we will deliver.
Okay, quite interesting. And as you know, Mr. Otu said at the top, the manifesto of AAC, his manifesto in Akwa Ibom State, is available online. The Lazarus Project 2023, he said. It's a 46-page document. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. I have someone else who
www.iborootu.com. That's where you can find it.
Indeed. Mr. Obot in Lagos has called in. Good morning to you, sir. Oh, dear. We did lose Mr. Obot, who had called in from Lagos. The other thing, of course, let's go to it. Well, first of all, in terms of trying to understand, this particular ticket, I had asked you about your deputy, and you had explained a bit about it. You said that it's probably not fair that she is often seen as a Nollywood actress because that is one of her talents and capabilities. But I would dare say that just looking at your manifesto, she has excelled in that area herself. But I'm looking at it now, and I'm seeing that she has a business in construction, real estate, oil and gas, agricultural company as well.
That is correct.
So there's a heck of a lot. Maybe just acting is one of our talents, and it seems to be a trend for entertainers, people coming from the entertainment sector to be coming into politics, which is not at all strange. People probably remember well that there are, people in the media, people in entertainment who have come into high office. President Ronald Reagan comes to mind, for example. There's quite a number of people, if you could just
Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Donald Trump has been a business person. Well, even entertainment, you're very, very right. Entertainment, you know. So I just, this trend, this increasing trend, we remember, among others, Funke Akindele in Lagos for another party. Is it because of the popularity that these people have that you thought she might be a good choice? It might have been a he, but two things you've done there. You brought someone in from outside of core politics, and also she's a lady. Is that in keeping with your attitude to governance, making sure that women are carried along?
I love this question. Thank you for asking it. Yes, our women, they have really been disenfranchised. I agree with my deputy governor. Our government would be made up of 50% men and 50% women, of course, because when you empower the woman, you empower the family and you empower the community. But unfortunately, the reverse has been the case. And she wasn't picked as a result of, maybe it is a generational thing. So
I think the signal dropped, but in the meantime, Mr. Okuk in Ojo has called in. Let's see if by the end of your question, we'd have got our signal back. Good morning to you, Mr. Okuk.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
My name is Okuk. I'm calling from Ojo, that is in Lagos State.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, Mr. Yori, I'm very happy to be in this program this morning. I am from Akwa Ibom State. I'm an Akwa Ibomite. I have a question for the governorship candidate in Akwa Ibom State. My question is that in respect of youth, but because when you look at the situation in Akwa Ibom State, youth empowerment program, there has been a lot of time that they say, yeah, they want to empower youth, because we have a very creative youth in Akwa Ibom State. How are you going to make sure that you align your government with youth? That is number one question. Number two question is like those areas, those interior communities, those interior villages, local government that the government of Akwa Ibom State haven't touched for so many years. Places like Ikalu government precisely. If you go to Ikalu government, there is no good road network. There is no electricity, no good electricity, no electricity. In fact, since I've been in that local government, I've never seen light in that local government. How are you going to bring your government down to Ikalu government?
Okay.
Another question is...
Well, you can't do those questions. Sorry, sir, you can't do those multiple questions. I'm so sorry. And I want to thank you very much, though, for calling in. In fact, we're having challenges staying connected with Mr. Otu. Well, sorry, sir. That's it. You've addressed an area of interest of his, which was youth development. You've addressed that. Yes. But then he talked about the interior, the non-urban areas. But I can see right there on the screen that we're having challenges maintaining this connection. If you can hear me, see what you can do in the next 30 seconds, perhaps. 30 seconds, because we've got to go now. Did you want to relate with rural areas of Akwa Ibom State? No. Well, it's...
Hello? I can...
Yeah. Would you quickly like to say something about the rural areas, which is a question that Mr. Okuk brought up? He also brought up other questions, but you've addressed them about youth empowerment. He was concerned about the interior, and I hope you're not concentrating essentially on the urban areas. As short as possible, please.
He's very correct. So he's talking about the Ika, Okanafo, Norogonam area, Abako, and all the rest of them. Okay. The problem is the skewed budgetary system that is presently available. If you look at the 2023 Akwa Ibom budget for capital allocation across local governments, you see that your local government, for example, will have 93 billion in this Uyo senatorial district, and all the other local governments combined will have less than 5. In fact, in the Eket local
I'm
government
very
area,
sorry, Mr. Otu.
the-
Mr. Otu, please forgive me. I
Yes.
really hate to do this, but we've completely run out of time. However, it's been an exciting time with you, Mr. Iboro Otu, African Action Congress governorship candidate in Akwa Ibom State, alongside his running mate, Chief Mrs. Caroline Uduak Danjuba. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Otu.